Well, welcome to another Rogers Capital Market Commentary, where we attempt to be the antidote to water cooler wisdom. Pretty good March, a little bit of a rebound. So up about 3.5% on the S&P last month. Kind of earning back most of what we lost in February and then some. Puts us at 7.5% year to date. So a first quarter of about 7.5%. But not without some drama and volatility. Silicon Valley Bank going bankrupt just a few days into the month. FDIC receivership. The first FDIC insured institution to go into receivership since 2020, so the pandemic. Now, SVB had kind of a unique situation, a combination of kind of unique depositors, volatility of their own mark-to-market asset portfolio, unusually large depositor withdrawals, exposure to the venture capital industry, a lot of obviously what they're doing out there in Silicon Valley, a lack of sticky deposits, but really primarily mismanagement by the folks running that bank and the interest rate situation over the last year or so, causing them to sell assets to cover the mark-to-market requirements and cover those withdrawals. And so bankruptcy, receivership. Now, again, probably unique, especially we've had several weeks now to see this flesh out. A little bit unique, and it doesn't appear there's a larger contagion risk. Kicked off an interesting conversation, though. Debate began on how much of those deposits were going to be saved. Even talk about saving everything above the FDIC limits. Now, parentheses. FDIC limits are $250,000 per bank per account registration. So you could conceivably have a husband account, individual, a joint account, wife account, a trust account, a business account. You could conceivably, $250 in all of those, have over $1 million worth of coverage at one bank. So now, the interesting talk was that whether they were going to, whether the Fed was going to back all of the deposits. It also kicked off an interesting discussion on probably, the viability of our country's small and mid-sized banking system. Nearly half of all industrial loans are in small and mid-sized banks, and over 60% of mortgages. Market-wise, the regional bank shares, the stock shares, were roughed up pretty good. There were speculations of bank runs. I actually remember being at dinner with friends on Sunday night after this had occurred, Friday, Saturday, and the legitimate question, Corey, do we need to go into our Chase, bank on Monday morning and pull all of our money out? So, concern, reasonable for folks that maybe haven't been through this before. And the bank shares suffered for it, got hammered. In fact, down 27% in a week, regional banking index. Now, while the Fed's emergency lending program helps fight that or limit that contagion, the bank run, the hysteria, confidence in financial institutions is fragile. And the risk, that concern with people, the public, can't just be dismissed. It matters what bank you got your money in. It matters that you're paying attention to those FDIC limits. So pay attention. Market-wise, first quarter we just wrapped up, right? So January, February, March. Again, up 7.5%, but technology dominated that. More than 70% of the return for the first quarter was driven by tech and communication, which are the Facebooks and stuff. Another, being 20%. So huge contributors. The decliners, energy had a tough month, financials had a tough month, healthcare, okay? And now here we are again in earnings season, the next month and a half. Companies, posting what their earnings and profits are for the first quarter. And we've talked through this time and again, but earnings are what drive markets. Profits are what drive markets. So how are things going to look and feel? Well, consensus estimates are that the S&P is going to be down 6% year over year on an earnings number, first quarter to first quarter. That's going to be drugged down by communication services, healthcare, technology. But the story's the same. What's driven a lot of this? Inflation, and what the Fed has to do to get inflation under control. As expected, the Fed raised another 25 basis points this past month, pushing us to 5% interest rates. Financial stability, what's been going on with these banks, is clearly a vital factor in the Fed's future decisions, but as of now, it looks like the Fed will likely hike at least one, maybe two, probably two more times this year. Maybe the next one being likely maybe in May. Okay, so that's where we stand. Second quarter, here we come. So happy spring, happy Easter. God bless you and your family, and happy Masters Week too. We'll see you next time.